It's word association time. You say match, I say fire. You say game, I say football. You say Real Madrid, and I say European elite. But that's not quite the case, is it? Or at least it wasn't for when Manchester City played Real Madrid in the Champions League this year. There was one elite club in that game, and it was not Real Madrid. Today, we are going to be discussing how Manchester City managed to dispose of the 14 times European champions with such ease. They won the game by 4-0, and I'm not kidding when I say it could have been more. It could have been 5, it could have been 6, it could have been more. Today, we're going to be breaking down how they managed to do it. Please like the video and subscribe, it really would mean a lot to me. But now, let's talk about how Manchester City outclassed the mighty Real Madrid. Here we have both sides. We have Manchester City on the left and we have Real Madrid on the right. Let's go through the starting lineups really quick and then we can start talking about the tactics and how Manchester City managed to outclass this Real Madrid side. Vikanji, Diaz, Stones and Walker for Manchester City's back four. We know what John Stones does later on in the game, but he starts out as a centre-back, I believe, out of possession, which is why we have him here. Rodri, Gundogan and De Bruyne make up that midfield three, and then you have Jack Grealish, Erling Haaland and Bernardo Silva. Right, let's go and have a look at the Real Madrid lineup. We have Carvajal, Militao, Alaba and Camavinga. There's a big red flag here, genuinely, and it's David Alaba. I don't understand Carlo Ancelotti's thinking in this, because he has Rudiger on the bench, and he turns to Rudiger in the game. But I don't understand why he does not start him. Alaba plays as a left-back. He can play left-back. He can play left-back far better than Camavinga can, which is one of the major issues in this Real Madrid side, is Camavinga playing at left-back. Yes, he's very good as a midfielder filling a position of a left-back, but against the quality that Manchester City have, I'm very surprised that Carlo Ancelotti did not decide to use the power, the pace, and the positioning of David Alaba in this match. Big red flag here for Carlo. Course, Valverde and Modric make up Madrid's midfield three, and then you have Rodrigo, Benzema, and obviously Vinicius Jr. Right, let's talk about how the game breaks down. When we're looking at Manchester City and we're looking at the way that Manchester City go forwards, they're at home, they're going to dominate the ball. They dominated the ball at Madrid, so they're going to want to have most of the possession. When this happens, John Stones, as we know, comes into midfield and Rodri comes out. This is a done thing that always happens. But at the moment, Real Madrid have not thought of a way to be able to counteract that, and that's one of the main reasons why they struggled so much in this match, is because this double pivot system right here is just absolutely obliterating teams, specifically Real Madrid in this scenario, because they just didn't understand how to counterattack through this back five, if you will. This then allows the front five to go and do their thing, and you're almost splitting the entire team in two. You have defense, and then you have attack. And what ends up happening is that Madrid are stuck in a no man's land. They can't really transition forwards. They're not able to go out on a counter-attack. They can't really sit in their box because of the dominance and the pressure that Manchester City have. They can't really find a way to get a foothold in the match with the amount of possession that City have. And it just becomes some kind of death grip. They're choking them out just at will. And what ends up happening is that Man City end up taking the space. They take the width that Madrid offer to them, because Madrid are trying to be that little bit more narrow. Camavinga comes inside, Alaba comes inside, Militao comes inside, and so does Carvajal. Valverde, Course, and Modric drop deep, and they try to become narrow. They try to move inside, but it's just a little bit too late, and it's almost like Madrid haven't practiced this, and it did seem like a system that Madrid just weren't comfortable playing. And now they're obviously not going to be comfortable playing it because of the way that Manchester City went about their business, but really it just looked uncomfortable all over. Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva come forwards, and you know how this happens. All the City players come forward, and it becomes just an absolute mauling from Manchester City. The positions that some of these players take up just cause the Madrid players to think twice about where they are, and what ends up happening and what it turns into is this. This is exactly what happens if I remove those lines. This is what goes on, and it looks complicated, but we'll go through it. Jack Grealish and Bernardo Silva hold and hug the touchlines. You need that width. City are spreading the play, and this spreads out that Real Madrid defence. And what ends up happening is that Camavinga, because it's not his fault, he's not a left-back, he ends up getting sucked towards Bernardo Silva. He gets drawn out more often than not. That leaves a space for Alaba to have to cover, and that is a lot of ground. Doesn't look like it, but that's a lot of ground to be able to try and fight against, to be able to try and defend against. You're defending the space, and it's just an open invitation for Kevin De Bruyne to either go inside or to move towards the centre of the pitch. He obviously gets close to Erling Haaland, who is doing a fantastic job occupying at least two players at the same time, which again is drawing more space. The space here is very well occupied, yes, but it also means that Gundogan can then go around and shift his position, playing those passes round, playing through to Jack Grealish, who is able to go towards the byline, and all of this rotation from Manchester City, it's the same rotation that Premier League clubs have seen, but Real Madrid have seen it firsthand now, and they didn't know what to do. But when Real Madrid did get the ball, were they able to transition? Were they able to go forwards? Were they able to try and make use of some of that pace and power that we know that Vinicius Jr. and Benzema has? Benzema is not exactly the fastest of players, but Rodrigo is, and Benzema has obviously massive quality. Well, when they did get an actual turnover, when they did get a transition, Modric was so tired. Of course, Modric and Valverde were so tired to be able to play some of the passes. They struggled to get out, but when they did get out and they tried to play it down the line, what did you have? You only had probably the fastest right back in the world right now, the fastest defending right back in the world, and Kyle Walker is absolutely sensational. I don't think we talk about Kyle Walker enough in the way that he hasn't lost any pace, his positioning is still very good, he's playing in this Manchester City team, his passing is pretty much excellent, and he's able to do what he did to Vinicius Jr., which is just block him completely. Vinicius Jr. had a moment when he got a few yards on Kyle Walker down this left-hand side, and Walker beat him for pace, recovered round, and then still managed to take the ball off him. It was unfair. But that meant that Real Madrid had no outball. This wasn't on. Rodrigo was too far back covering the runs of Jack Grealish, which means that this wasn't on, and Benzema was all on his own. It just wasn't good. They could not get out. And in that, Manchester City recovered the possession. Diaz, Akanji and Walker made sure that they stayed stable. They kept going out wide, they kept pushing out, and these are where the goals came from. The opening of the play from De Bruyne, swapping with Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne coming towards the byline, and vice versa. And this is where the goals happen. It's down to the amount of pressure. It's down to Real Madrid not being used to the way that Manchester City play. It's down to them not being able to coordinate themselves and tactically make themselves aware of what's going to happen. And in the end, it just became far, far too much. The better side won. Yes. The team with the better tactical nous won. Yes, Real Madrid are European champions, but not for too long. It feels like it's some kind of passing of the torch, because Real Madrid were not in this game, but Manchester City were. The game ended Manchester City 4, Real Madrid 0, and I'm not kidding you, it could have been 9. It could have been so much worse. Manchester City dominated Real Madrid, they outclassed Real Madrid, and it seems like European royalty is theirs. Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave the video with a like and subscribe. It really would mean a lot to me. If you would like to support the channel a little bit further, you can do now. You can become a channel member, and to do that, you press the join button below this video or on my channel page. Follow the instructions and become a member of this ever-growing club. And as ever, your support is much appreciated. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as well on Manchester City and Real Madrid. Do you think City can go all the way and finally claim that elusive Champions League trophy? Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. But that is it from me for today. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care of yourselves, and bye-bye.